Me, 52 meters. Just found out at least 4 of my 5 children, 33F, 30F, 28 meters, 24F, 14F, are not mine. Wife, 51F, won't say anything. I wouldn't worry about trying to save the marriage. If she's still lying to you, in the face of overwhelming evidence, then there's nothing left to save. Talk to a lawyer about how to start the divorce process. And follow their advice to the letter. Sit your youngest down and have an age-appropriate conversation with her. Tell her that you and her mother will be getting a divorce. That it turns out that the other kids aren't your biological kids. That you still love them and are still their father. But you won't be able to stay married to their mother. That she can have a DNA test done as well if she wants. But that she doesn't have to. You'll love her. And she'll be your daughter either way. She also doesn't have to decide that right now. Then take it one step at a time. Sort out the logistics of leaving. Find yourself a new place and get yourself set up. From there, I'd start looking at ways to maintain your relationship with all of your children. With the youngest, make sure to get as much custody as you can, even full custody if that's possible. For all of the children. Try to come up with some traditions that everyone could enjoy. Maybe they all come over for dinner at your house once a month. Maybe there's a standing invitation for any of them to come over for Sunday lunch. Maybe you get together every so often and try something new together. Pottery/kayaking/rock climbing etc. Whatever will work with everyone's schedules. Make sure you keep in touch with each of them individually as well. Ask about how their lives are going. Offer to help them with projects they are doing, especially around the home. Be good to them and to yourself. And never badmouth their mother. I don't think you would. From what you've written. But try never to set them up in opposition to her. Or that they can't see her/treat her well, if they want you to like them. You'll be co-parenting with your soon-to-be ex for the next several years. So make sure that's as easy as possible for everyone concerned. And make sure you get your youngest child to a counselor/therapist. This will be devastating for her. Suggest it to the other kids as well. It's going to be tough on all of them. You need to consult a lawyer as soon as possible. Speaking with a lawyer is very important right now. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and believe me, they know when something is up. She will be extremely upset that she was the only one left out if you don't tell her. So sorry you are going through this, but so I have so much respect for you for never leaving those kids. You are their father no matter what. Thank you for the silver kind stranger. To add to this, like Op's youngest, I was the youngest of my siblings by some years, about 6. And there were things I was left out of because my parents decided I wasn't old enough. When I was around Op's daughter's age. Even years later. When everyone else talks about how special it was to them that they were able to be together at that moment, my parents pulled my older siblings out of school for this and didn't tell me until I got home and it was over. I'm reminded over and over again that my parents made that decision for me. And I don't think I'll ever forgive them for it. This kind of thing is going to be tough for anyone at any age. But being told years later that everyone else was told except for you is going to make it even worse for her. She is old enough to be told. What moment? My dad got the time lost proto Drake. Is that a WoW reference? Okay, wow. I'm sorry she refuses to address the situation. Have your children all confront her at once. Intervention style. This. And honestly, do you really want to save your marriage? Not one but maybe even 4 of your kids aren't yours. It's not just one cheating, it's multiples. Unless she did some random sperm donor stuff. But like why? And the fact she is denying evidence says it all. Get everyone round and ask her WTF happened. 4 kids. 4 kids errant is. The 5th is undetermined. I'm not a betting man. But if I was, I'd bet $1 that the youngest isn't his either. Edit. Had to manually correct autocorrect. I think we all agree there. This is a really odd situation. For her to have 5 kids, all the result of different affairs, with you having had no suspicions. It's strange. I do notice from the ages that you were both teenagers when your first child was born, and I'm guessing it was a rather quick shotgun wedding. It's possible she married you out of panic, having got pregnant and not knowing what to do or even who the father was. I think you probably need to start going over your calendars and try to work out what was going on around their conceptions. Were you on a business trip? Was your wife away if you were both sexually active all these years? It's a bit odd that at least one kid didn't turn out to be yours. I think it's also worth going for a fertility checkup yourself. Then I think you need to go with your wife, sit before a geneticist, and have them spell out the fact that she did not conceive these children with you. That may be sufficient for her to finally admit what did happen. I don't see how you can continue your marriage with this level of doubt and mystery. This is also something I can't get out of my head. Our eldest daughter was not planned, and it definitely was a contributing factor into getting married. But all of our other children were planned. We specifically tried for them. So I have to wonder how on earth none of the remaining 3 are mine. Did she take our planning as an opportunity to have unprotected sex with her otherwise protected affairs? Do I have fertility problems? I really don't understand how none of them are mine. I think it's also worth going for a fertility checkup yourself. I absolutely agree. I have put it off so far as I'm afraid of the results. Because it will effectively confirm in my mind that not even my youngest is my biological daughter. There was an odd and sad recent case of a man who discovered that he had cystic fibrosis in his 50s, which meant he was infertile but not sterile. There is viable sperm, but no vas deferens. Hence medical assistance is needed. From this, he found out that none of his sons were his. So if for some bizarre reason your wife suspected you were infertile, since you were trying, but it wasn't happening, maybe she went to a sperm bank or something, thinking you wouldn't agree. But several times, it doesn't seem likely. Does she work somewhere with hugely dodgy people who could have drugged and date raped her? Multiple times? Again, it seems the stuff of fiction. So then we have to face the fact that she knowingly cheated with multiple partners over a period of at least a decade. Did she take our planning as an opportunity to have unprotected sex with her otherwise protected affairs? This does seem the most likely answer. But how she thinks she can still get away with it now, well, I suppose she has nothing to lose by brazening it out. I do think you need to get repeat tests at a separate facility. There was a situation on here where a couple got a false negative. He threw her out, but she encouraged him to get a second test which was accurate/positive. So he was the father. However, it was too late. The marriage was over. It didn't help that he was the one who had had the affair, but had then treated her with suspicion for a year. I'm so sorry this is happening to your family. It must be horribly traumatic for all of you. I also thought maybe the first one was because cheating. Then she was not getting pregnant and went to a sperm bank for the following kids. But I would think that with multiple children she would go with the same donor, not different ones, so maybe she was having short-term affairs till she gets pregnant, realizes what she has done and ghosts them, then goes back to the cheating at some point. I agree with another commenter that an intervention is probably on the cards with all the kids sans 14 years old. And getting an ST test is a must. Or OP has some crazy sperm that are so unbelievably varied in on/off genes that it didn't meet the threshold for parenthood. I'm not a geneticist, that probably doesn't exist. It really is the stuff of fiction. Could you get tests redone with a different doctor? I just can't believe she's just brushing it off. Surely with something so serious she would just admit it. If she's been caught out, I can't understand it. She is probably too scared to lose you. If she went to a fertility clinic because she was not getting pregnant, that could explain it. She wasn't unfaithful in that she may not have had sex with someone, so she might not think this is a big deal. It would still be appalling, though. The 2 oldest daughters have the same father. That would be a hell of a coincidence. They got pregnant with their first when they were teens and weren't trying. I'm doubting she got a sperm donor, unless you mean an actively participating one. Then yeah. Other than this, and this is huge, how is the marriage? Like, is this final nail in the coffin or you are highly conflicted? The marriage was perfect. This is why it hurts so much. She's been as close to a soulmate as I could ever imagine. A loving wife. A caring and attentive mother. There's never been any tension or troubles in the marriage. I don't understand how this is possible. And the fact she won't explain makes it even more painful. After reading everything, including this comment, I'm really thinking you're infertile and she went with sperm donors. Most people notice tension/distancing with one affair, much less over 4. This is incorrect. Many times cheaters report that they're happier with the marriages during and after the affair. And why wouldn't they be? It's like a 2-for-1 deal for these people. Or in her case, a 4-for-1 deal. I could not see her getting a sperm donor at 18 when they weren't even trying. And then somehow finding the same one years later. I think a lot of people are counting casual sex with someone under sperm donor, as getting a traditional sperm donation could be costly. That doesn't make sense. Firstly, Op's wife didn't know whether or not Op is infertile. Op himself doesn't know. Secondly, casual sex with someone other than your husband is not a sperm donor. It's cheating. And unprotected casual sex then bearing the child of your lover without telling your husband is like mega cheating. Calling mega cheating a sperm donation is like saying that getting stabbed in the heart with a kitchen knife counts as surgery. It's disingenuous. Honestly, I'm surprised by the number of people trying to find excuses for Op's wife. People seem to prefer believing in all kinds of insane theories rather than accept the obvious. I don't want to give you any false hope because it's extremely rare. But there have been cases of paternal chimerism where the father doesn't match the child due to a genetic anomaly causing mixed DNA in the father. https://www.nkb NLM NE gov/pmc/articles/pmc 5,845,036/edit. Posters below are correct. Chimerism wouldn't explain your kid showing 3 different fathers. Sorry man. This is what I thought. But then he said that 3 of his kids have different fathers. And isn't chimerism only 2 different sets of DNA? So wouldn't it only show up as 2 different fathers if that were the case? I have no idea. Maybe the first one came from an affair. Op mentions that the first kid wasn't planned and contributed to having a fast wedding. Then the rest are his, but different DNA due to chimerism. Chimerism wouldn't explain why each child has a different father though. Oh. I misread. I thought there were 2 fathers involved. But so far, the 4 tested kids seem to stem from 3 different fathers. Very weird. And honestly I rule it out because of his wife's reaction. If she wouldn't have actually cheated on Op, she would be adamant to retest to clear out the air instead of blaming him for not trusting her. I don't know. Her reaction actually made me wonder if something wonky was going on. I could see myself reacting the same way she did after over 3 decades with someone. Like, I'm not even going to dignify this with a response because it's so ridiculous. I think Op and his kids need to consult with an actual geneticist. I'm not going to straight out say divorce her. Divorce is a very serious and big topic to touch upon. But I'm also not going to sugarcoat things and say stay with her. I would like to point out that, like you said, those tests are accurate. They are very rarely wrong. And the fact she doesn't even want to talk about it, or apologize or even confess, has to make you wonder if she's cheating on you now. I'd go get tested, even if it was in the past. It's possible she's still cheating on you now. Stay safe. Document things. This might save you later. Your child is 14. It's a hard conversation to have, but if you feel she's at an age where she's mature enough to handle the situation, you need to be the one to tell her and explain to her. Maybe even have a favorite sibling, if she has one, come along. It's much better that she knows the truth with evidence than her mom twists the truth around and brainwash her. If you did go with divorce. The reason I say document is custody battles for kids. I don't know how she'll react, but what if she tries to file for full custody of your youngest? Document. It's really up to you whether or not you either want to 1. Forget all about this, but live a life with her knowing she's cheated on you multiple times with little to no remorse apparently, 2. Confront her until she confesses, but possibly still stay with her in a possibly broken marriage. 3. Maybe couples counseling, if you're really up for it. 4. Divorce. I'm going to be real here. I hope you don't stay with her because you feel like you're too old to move on with your life. You are never ever too old for anything. You shouldn't settle for someone who obviously cared, possibly cares, very little for your feelings and well-being. You deserve more. You are not responsible for your wife or her despicable affairs. She chose what she chose to do, and that is not your fault. She did this to herself. Staying in an unhappy and broken relationship because you feel like you've invested so much into it is not the answer. It will hurt you in the long run, and you won't be happy, and you deserve so much more. Right now your priority isn't her but you and your kids, who from the sound of it know you love them, which shows you're an amazing parent already. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't let that mince at that because you spent half of your life with her means you're stuck with her forever, because you're not. You're not too old to go out and explore or find someone new or just live life. Do what you think is the best for you. I really appreciate the thought out and advice you posted. But I have to say that the following meant so much to me. I'm going to be real here. I hope you don't stay with her because you feel like you're too old to move on with your life. You are never ever too old for anything. You shouldn't settle for someone who obviously cared, possibly cares, very little for your feelings and well-being. You deserve more. You really hit the nail on the head. I've built up my entire life around her, and I feel like the pillar underlying my entire life has been destroyed. I can't imagine life with her. But I also can't imagine life without her. God, I feel like a mess, but thank you so much. For some reason that last line really moved me. Many of us were thrust into this situation, men and women, where we gave decades of our lives to someone who turned out to be an imposter that had been using us for their own needs. Whilst doing despicable things behind our backs. I too had a wife that, when the truth came out, just refused to discuss it and shut me down. It sent me crazy for a while, trying to break through to her in tandem with waking every day watching my whole existence disintegrate before my eyes. I'm not shy in saying I had to get myself serious help from mental health professionals, as I was close to just checking out. Dealing with the betrayal and anger was hard. My life for 25 years was a lie anyhow. The positives, the only people that exist to me now, are my family. One person is just a weekly stay away cash sum, now that in a few years won't even be linked to me financially. My relationship with my kid, it's on the up and up. My self-worth is back. I'm happy in the fact 100% of my time is my own, and 100% of my energy is now only given to my children. My tip: slice this right down the middle. One group of people need you right now as much as you need them. They are your children, and your relationship will strengthen with them. If you just stick to being dad, the other person, well, they don't matter anymore. Not your problem. Not your responsibility. Seriously. Just ghost her when she is in your company until she gets the message that her actions ejected her from being part of your family. I will never get closure from my ex, so I just accepted I married a piece of human trash. She had the opportunity to fix that, but chose not to. That's on her, not me. Being realistic, a betrayal of this magnitude is likely never to be fixed. So why bother trying with someone who doesn't deserve one more second of your time that could be spent on your kids? If there is one thing I'm happy about more than anything else now, I'm past the initial trauma. It's being single and away from the thing I thought was my spouse. Great advice. It's important to keep in mind that it's unlikely you'll ever get the kind of closure you want, because people that do stuff like this will lie and make excuses till their dying breath. Because they've already been lying so much to themselves every single day. Making as clean a break as possible is extremely hard, but better than endlessly going back and forth with a liar as your mental health continues to deteriorate.